Out of the gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. So glad to have you with us. We got a big show on tap today, as it is our first live show after the 2025 NFL Draft. We got some great news to get to in our news and rumors segment on Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, and also looking ahead to the 2026 NFL Draft. Also, on today's program, we will give out some grades for the UDFA class of 2025. We'll go over the updated list. We got some new ones that we'll cover and talk about some of my favorites. And then in the third segment, we will go over an updated depth chart for the Kansas City Chiefs, every player on offense, defense, and special teams. And then we will wrap up today's show with a Q&A rumors mailbag. Go ahead and start submitting your questions now, using hashtag Chiefs or super chatting to get on the mailbag portion of the show. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling. We are coming at you from the Chat Sports Studios here at downtown Dallas, Texas on this very fine Tuesday afternoon. Where are you guys at? I see Tony Fuentes already in the house from El Paso, Texas. Good to see you, Tony. I got Bill in McPherson, Kansas, because there is no fear in McPherson, Kansas. Where else? We got Paul in Tonganoxie. Good to see you, Paul. I can always count on Bill and Tony and Paul. They're always with us almost every show. Michael talking about McDuffie and George Karlaftis. We'll have more on that coming up later. Gingerbread Man is in the house, a Seahawks Today legend. We'll get to Gingerbread Man super chat momentarily. Where else? Where else we watching from today, everybody? Weigh in and tell us where you guys are at. I got Clutch Prod in Forest, Virginia. I got Michael in Northtown, the king of the North, in KC Northtown. Good to see you, Michael. Let us know where you guys are at. How would you grade the Chiefs draft? A, B, C, D, or F, what would be your grade for how the Kansas City Chiefs did? Our poll question right now, do you like the Chiefs draft? 92% of you voting yes, 8% voting no. So out of 39 votes, seems like everybody's pretty pleased with how this draft turned out. Give me your grades and let us know right now. We got Paul saying A+. We got Bill saying A+. I gave this draft an A. Mel Kiper Jr. gave this draft a B+. And if you haven't seen it already, when we're done with today's show, you can go back and watch the videos that we have on the channel of Mel Kiper's draft grades. We also have a video I did of my draft grades for the Chiefs. You can see all that once we're done with today's show. Got Tony saying A. Slam and Sammy's in the chat saying, I want a Royals jersey. Okay. Go for it. Knock yourself out, Slam and Sam. Got Michael saying A. Tony saying A+. What are your grades? Got Bryce Sports saying A as well for his grades there on that. Let's go to the first super chat of the day. Gingerbread Man. He's the Chat Sports real one. We'll get to the super chat menu momentarily. How y'all doing, Chiefs Kingdom? So, Gingerbread Man, great guy. He joins me about every Seahawks Today live show. And now he is migrated over to the Chiefs Report as well. So he is just a huge Chat Sports guy. We love Gingerbread Man and appreciate him supporting not only Seahawks Today, but also the Chiefs Report as well. Thanks for being here with us, Gingerbread Man. Show Gingerbread some love for being the first super chat of the day. I want everybody in the chat spamming Gingerbread Man for showing us some love and being that first super chat of the day. Go ahead and spam Gingerbread Man. And as the super chat menu will show you, a $5 super chat means a beer cheers. So I will crack open a cold Miller and salute the Gingerbread Man. Everybody show Gingerbread Man some love. Cheers to Gingerbread Man. Go Chiefs. There we go. There we go, my friends. We're off and rolling today. First time super chatters get the KC chant. $5. We'll do a beer cheers. $10 will take some shots. $20 get bean boozled with the spicy jelly beans. $50 we will do a beer bong. And you guys know the offer. If we somehow in some miraculous way get to $300 in super chats, we can do a boot here on today's show. So that is what we're offering on the Super Chat menu here for this Tuesday afternoon live edition of the Chiefs Report. Joining me on the ones and twos today is the one and only Big Tex. Big Tex, happy Tuesday to you. This is a short week for us. Another day closer to the 3-day weekend. How we doing, man?
That's right. Getting closer and closer by the day. I'm doing all right, man. Yourself?
I'm doing very well. You got any plans already lined up for this 3-day weekend, or are you just going to kind of catch up and relax a little bit?
It's a great question. I don't have anything structured yet on the schedule for later this week/weekend, but I'll think about it. For now, just decompressing, working out, getting away from work.
Okay. That sounds good to me. I'm headed to Los Angeles this weekend.
Oh, yeah, let's ride.
Headed there on Thursday, and then I fly back home on the first flight out Sunday morning to get back in time for the NASCAR race at Texas Motor Speedway. So,
nice. You're going to be a high roller?
I don't know if I'd necessarily say high roller, but I will enjoy myself. I'll have a drink or two and have a good time, have some nice scenes in more ways than one, if you know what I mean. Big Tex is going to give shout-outs to everybody in the chat. Spam and C. I like this from Gingerbread Man. He says, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Got to keep an eye out on the Chiefs Kingdom. Much appreciated. Much respect to you, Gingerbread Man. If you would like a shout-out from Big Tex, I need you to spam C in the chat. I want to see as many C's as we can over this next minute. That'll help the algorithm out, make people more aware that we're live, that we're bringing you this edition of the Chiefs Report. So go ahead and start spamming C. Let's see how many we can get over this next minute. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Start spamming C. I'll throw some C's in the chat, and let's get off to the races here.
Tony, Paul, Peter, Carl, Slammin, Bryce, Tony, Carl, Slammin, Bryce, Sheldon, Bill. There's some new names. Carl, Iko, Paul, Carl, Rated. Let me turn me down a little bit. There we go. Paul, Iko, Tony, Rated, Paul, Iko. Get some C's in there. Let's go. Slammin, Rated, Iko, Tony, Paul, Tony, Rated, Paul, Iko, Slammin, Carl, Tony, Rated, Iko, Slammin, Paul, Rated, Slammin, Iko, Paul. Let's get some new names in there. Let's go. Type C. Carl, there we go.
About 10 more seconds left.
Tony, Rated, Paul, Iko, Rated, Tony, Iko, Slammin, Rated, Paul, Iko, Tony, Paul, Iko, Paul. Come on, let's get some new names. Good stuff.
Nice work, everybody. Thanks for getting that in there and helping the chat right out and making sure people join us. We had another super chat that we'll get to in a moment. Before we do that, I want to make sure everybody likes today's video. We're at 18 likes right now. When we get to 30, then we can start this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. But I need everybody to hit that like button, and we can get this show officially started as we'll get to our news and rumors coming up in a moment. We also are talking UDFA grades, depth chart, Q&A mailbag, and more. Go ahead and start getting in those questions as well using hashtag Chiefs or super chatting. And we'll get you on the show. 19 likes right now. I need 11 more to start the show. I see Paul liked the video. Peter said he had to change his profile picture to show his spirit. I like it, Peter. Very nice. Paul liked the video. We got Tony liking the video. Aoki as well. Thank you for that. We need 8 more, my friends. Who's going to help us out? Bryce says he liked the video. Type me in the chat when you liked the video. Aoki as well. 8 more, then we can start this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We're at 24 now. 6 more likes away from reaching 30. I got Paul liking the video. 4 more away. Jeff checking in from Lincoln, Nebraska. Jeff, hopefully you're not a Cornhusker. I would hate that for you. You've seen some miserable football in recent memory. We got 4 more, and we'll get there. 3 away. Tony's asking, Big Tex, what kind of new warm-ups should I do? I don't know what a warm-up is.
I think, to be honest,
I think he means warm-ups.
Yes, I was going to say that. I think it was a typo from my friend Tony over there. Warm-ups? I would say start with 5 to 8, maybe 10 minutes of cardio if you're
You got to
really.
stretch, right?
Yes. But first, I like to start with some cardio to get loose. 8, 15 minutes maybe. And then, like Tyler said, you stretch dynamically. In the
3 more
motions-
likes away from 30 starting today's show.
In the motions that you would work out in that day. So if it's legs, do some dynamic leg stretches. If it's an upper body, do upper body dynamic stretching. And then do your static stretching after you work out. There you go, Tony.
3 more likes away from starting today's show. Bill's asking, hey, Tyler, have you ever been to Kansas? I went to school at KU. Of course I have. I lived there for 6 years. Of course I've been to Kansas. Come on. You think I went to school online at KU or something? I mean, yeah, I lived there. I worked there for 6.5 years, my guy. Of course I've been there. I've probably been there too much, to be honest. 2 more likes away, then we'll start today's show. We'll catch up on Slam and Sam's Super Chat. Bill says, I'm sorry, Tyler. You don't have to apologize. I just had to give you a hard time. 2 more. Slam and Sam's got workout advice for Tony. He says, lay on your stomach, then raise your head as high as you can over and over. That's a worm up. Do the worm. That's pretty good. Let's see. Rated Dogs not convinced Simmons is that guy. We'll find out. 1 more like away. 1 more. I'm not doing anything else till we get to 30 likes. I need 1 more like. Who's going to help us out? I need 1 more, and then I'll put us at 30. Let's see. Brownswick says, Tyler, are you in radio or TV in Dallas? I worked there for 25 years. I am doing this job in Dallas. This job, talking Chiefs football on the internet. That's where I'm at. There we go. 30 likes. Much appreciated. Thank you all for that. Let's go to Slam and Sam's $2 super chat. The crime boss, Jeffrey the Dime Bassa, is a fire pick. I agree. I'm a big fan of Jeffrey Bassa. I think he's going to do a great job with the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought they found some good value with him in the 5th round. He's a good coverage linebacker, too, so that offers something different than Nick Bolton. I like the pick. I like to pick Slam and Sam. Thanks for that super chat. In our final segment today, we'll be doing a mailbag. Go ahead and start submitting your questions to us now using hashtag Chiefs or super chatting, and we will answer those questions at the end of the show. Super chat questions get priority, so go ahead and start submitting those questions to us now using hashtag Chiefs or super chatting, and we'll answer those coming up in the final segment of today's program. Here is what's ahead on this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We'll go over the latest news and rumors, talking Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, and also about the 2026 draft. We will give you some grades for the undrafted free agents that the Chiefs signed and go over the updated list. Also, we'll take a look at the updated Chiefs depth chart. And then in our final segment, we'll do a mailbag. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our first segment as we are rocking and rolling here on this live edition of the Chiefs Report. Jonesy and Big Tex here with you on this Tuesday. Appreciate y'all joining us. Let's go ahead and get started with our news and rumors here on this live edition of the Chiefs Report, starting right now. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I am Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Appreciate you joining us on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. And I have a triple, I did not stutter there, a triple dose of good news for Kansas City Chiefs fans that we will be discussing here on today's show. We'll tell you everything you need to know coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, my friends, we are closing in on 71,500 subscribers here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We're just over 80 away from reaching that next milestone. If you are a diehard Chiefs fan, you got to be subscribed to the channel. We're bringing you multiple videos a day, live shows each and every Tuesday, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and there's no off-season here on the channel. The draft may be over, but we're going to continue to talk trades, free agency, and count you down to training camp. Lock us in. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV, and we'll get started with today's show. Let's begin with our first bit of good news for the Kansas City Chiefs. We start with corner Trent McDuffie. As according to a new report from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the Chiefs have picked up the fifth-year option on Trent McDuffie for the 2026 season. And for me, this is an easy decision for the Kansas City Chiefs to bring back Trent McDuffie and to exercise that fifth-year option. He is a fantastic football player. He is somebody that is well worth every penny. He is one of the very best at his position, and he's just now getting started. I think it's the right call for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you look at the financial terms of it, you're going to pay him about $13.6 million for that fifth-year option, and then you'll likely get an extension done after that. To me, it makes all the sense in the world to have Trent McDuffie on this team for a very long time. And it's interesting when you think about it. Trent McDuffie has such an incredible resume, right? But he is unlike anything we have seen in recent memory in Kansas City. Keep in mind, Brett Veach has never extended a homegrown defensive back since he has been the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs. And based on every indication, when you look at the accolades and then the results itself statistically, you can see why Trent McDuffie is not going anywhere. Last year, they shifted him from the nickel spot to the outside corner position, and he still was really good at outside corner as well, as he had his first career interception, 2 total, along with 1 forced fumble, 4 QB hits, 13 pass breakups, 59 tackles, and 6 TFLs. His coverage stats on the outside, he held his own, just allowed a completion percentage a hair below 58%, along with a QB rating of 81.3. But here is where he is going to make his money, folks. The nerds at Pro Football Focus, they love themselves some Trent McDuffie. His overall grade this past season was an 83.1. His pass rush grade was a 90.5. His run defense grade was a 79.5. And his coverage grade was an 80.6. So this is big that Trent McDuffie is not going anywhere. Now I think the next objective after picking up McDuffie's fifth-year option is going to be for Brett Veach and company to get him extended. And the longer this takes, the more money it's going to cost you. So I hope that they have something done sooner rather than later on Trent McDuffie. He's too good to let go to the open market and see if other teams have interest and potentially drive that price up. I hope Trent McDuffie plays in Kansas City for a very long time. So let's ask you on our pinned comment today, your chance to be the GM. Should the Chiefs extend Trent McDuffie? You got 2 options here. You can either type E for extend, D for don't. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. E for extend, D for don't. The good news keeps rolling in. Another fifth-year option picked up. Our number 2 item of good news today involves defensive end George Karlaftis, as he had his fifth-year option picked up as well, according to Jeremy Fowler, on top of Trent McDuffie. And just like what we talked about with McDuffie, this is the right call for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, his fifth-year option is a little bit more than Trent McDuffie's, as he is going to be paid in 2026 about $15.2 million that he will make. And even though he doesn't have the accolades that Trent McDuffie does of the All-Pros and all that, the production has been there for the former first-round pick out of Purdue, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and the Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie Team selection in 2022. Here's what we're talking about, folks. You guys know when I start these live shows, I say out of the gates and ready to go. George Karlaftis, when he joined the Kansas City Chiefs, entered the National Football League, he was out of the gates and ready to go. That first season with 6 sacks, 11 QB hits, then took a step up in 2023 with 10.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 17 QB hits. His numbers were down slightly this past season from 10.5 sacks to 8 sacks, but he came up big in the postseason each of the last 2 seasons. His Pro Football Focus grades, not great like McDuffie's, but not bad either. An overall grade near 70, a pass rush grade pretty solid of 70.3, coverage grade of 59.0, I would like to see Karlaftis be more consistent, but I have every reason to think that his best football is still yet to come at this point, that we haven't seen the completed version of George Karlaftis yet. I think that he is far from a finished product at this point, that he is still developing, still emerging. I believe in George Karlaftis, and hopefully he's here for a long time to get him extended as well. Do you believe in George Karlaftis? Is he going to be a star in this league for many years to come? If you do, type B for believe. If not, type DB for don't believe. Chime in the comment section. Let us know if you're all in on Karlaftis or not. We got more good news to get to in a moment, but first, got a great deal that we're offering Chiefs fans right now. Rookie jerseys, Josh Simmons and company. They are available right now at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys is where you can get these today. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited about Josh Simmons being here along with some of these other rookies. And if you go to this link, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys, you can get his jersey. And when you order the jersey, it will be the number he wears. We obviously don't know what number that will be just yet. But once he gets that number, then you will get the jersey, and it will be delivered to you with the number that he'll wear in 2025. And maybe you don't want a Josh Simmons jersey. Maybe you want another Chiefs player. Well, we got those available at that same link, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Get yours now. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Our last item of good news for the Kansas City Chiefs is a look ahead to the 2026 NFL Draft. According to reports, the Chiefs are expected to be awarded a 7th-round comp pick for 2026. And I'll be honest, they are going to need that comp pick. And I know what some of you may be saying right away, what good does a 7th-round pick do you? Well, I'll take every pick I can get at this point in time. That has been the bread and butter of this Chiefs organization. And we've seen Brett Veach do a really good job with these late-round draft picks, including those in the 7th round. Remember a guy by the name of Isaiah Pacheco? Yeah, maybe you're going to find your next Pacheco potentially there in the 7th round. So you look ahead to next year. Here are the picks that the Kansas City Chiefs currently have right now. We obviously don't know the numbers just yet because we got a whole season to play out. But they do have a 1st-round pick, a 2nd-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, along with a 4th-round pick. And then they have 3 more selections, which include not one, actually just one, 5th-round pick. Got ahead of myself there. They now have 2 7th-round picks in that total. So that brings them up to 7 total draft picks. Obviously, when you begin the draft process, you have 7, 1 for each round. You don't have the 6th-round picks. So now you're back to 7 with the additional 7th-round pick. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, it's about staying the course at this point, right? They don't spend a whole lot in free agency. They don't make a ton of trades. This team that Brett Veach has put together, that he's assembled, they have done it the right way. They have built this thing through the draft. They have found their core players, everyone from Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce to Chris Jones to George Karlaftis to Trent McDuffie. The list goes on and on through the draft. And that is going to continue to be their best path forward to keep this thing going, is building through the draft. And they just had another great draft, and I think that as long as Brett Veach is in charge, the future is bright for this Kansas City Chiefs team going this direction they're on right now. Speaking of the draft, who was your favorite Chiefs draft pick this year? If you had to give me one player, who comes to mind that was your favorite in 2025? Weigh in the comment section and let us know. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now to the Kansas City Chiefs Report for the latest happenings on your favorite team all offseason long. I am Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. That is one segment in the books. Up next, we'll do UDFA grades. And then after that, we will shift gears and go to our updated depth chart, and then we'll wrap up with our mailbag. Go ahead and continue to get questions to us using hashtag Chiefs or Super Chatting to get on the show. I'm asking you right now, who was your favorite Chiefs draft pick? And so far, the majority of the chat is saying Jalen Royals was their favorite pick. I see Slam and Sam Paul, Tony, all saying Jalen Royals is their favorite pick. I like Jalen Royals too. That's a good answer from the chat there on that front. Super chat menu if you'd like to get on today's show. First time super chatters get the KC chant. $5 to do beer cheers. $10 take some shots. $20 get bean boozled. $50 we will do a beer bong. And you will get priority for the mailbag segment. Go ahead and keep submitting your questions using hashtag Chiefs or super chatting for the mailbag portion of the show. Up next, let's talk undrafted free agents. We have an updated list for you of some new players that have signed since we last talked to you about that on Sunday. We're also going to give some grades for the UDFAs and talk about some of my favorites as well coming up in our second segment. That's coming up next as we continue here on this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Jonesy, Big Tex here with you. Happy to have you with us here on this Tuesday. Correct. We'll go ahead and get started as we continue here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Let's get started with segment 2 beginning right now. You're watching the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. On Sunday, we brought you a video with a look at the undrafted free agents that the Kansas City Chiefs have signed. Since then, we've added a few more names. We'll tell you who those are. And we're also going to give some grades for the 2025 UDFA class. And I'll talk about some of my favorite players that stand out to me coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do that, folks, I want to give a warm welcome to the 2025 Chiefs rookie class. Whether it's the guys that were drafted or the UDFAs, we are so happy to have all of them here in the kingdom, my friends. And I'll tell you a story here, folks. I've been doing this show now since August. I've been with Chat Sports for over 3 years. And one thing that I have seen over time is that when you get new players involved in an organization, their friends and their family are very curious, typically, of what the fan base and what the media is saying about them. Who knows? One of these new members of the Chiefs, somebody close to them, could be watching this show. We want to make our voices heard loud and clear that we're rooting all of them on, that they have our support, and that we wish them nothing but the best for their time here in Kansas City. So here's what I want. I want 1,000 likes on today's video to let everyone know that we wish them the best and we're excited to have them here. Hit that like button, show some support and some love, and we'll get started with today's show. Here is the updated full list of UDFAs, and this is not rookie camp invites. These are guys that have signed as UDFAs for Kansas City. They include Maryland safety Glendon Miller, Fresno State wide receiver Mac Delina, Pitt linebacker Brandon George, as well as Clemson tight end Jake Brenningstool. We also have another tight end from Texas A&M, Trey Watson, on the list. Some more for you here include USC punter Eddie Kaplitsky, as well as corner Melvin Smith Jr. From Southern Arkansas. We have USC corner Jacoby Covington. We also have defensive tackle from Penn State, Kozad Izard. And then another name here for you. We have Essa Pohl from Washington State, also on the list. Some others include Elijah Badger, the wide receiver from Florida. Another running back from Western Kentucky, Elijah Young. We also have Stephen F. Austin, running back, Quilon Jones. And Tennessee safety Will Brooks, who has a great story. Former walk-on that turned into one of the best players on Tennessee's defense this past year. Maybe my personal favorite. This is a late addition. Jared Casey, Kansas tight end. You may recall many years ago in Lance Leipold's first season at KU, the 2-win Kansas football team that beat Texas in Austin. It was Jared Casey who caught the game-winning score, turned that into an NIL deal from Applebee's, and went on to have a good career as a tight end / fullback. I doubt he's going to make the roster, but I'm happy that he's at least getting a chance anyway. Dalton Cooper, offensive tackle from Oklahoma State. And then one more for you here. Kevin Knowles, the cornerback from Florida State, also on this list as well. My grade for the UDFA class, this is a B. There are a lot of guys that, I'm going to be frank with you, don't stand a chance to make this roster. This team is really stacked. They're really good, all right? Just being frank. But there are a few names that I like from this list that stand out to me that have potential, whether it's to make the back end of the roster or to be good practice squad players for this Kansas City Chiefs team. You could have done a whole lot worse. The reason why I also give this a B as well is there are names that were undrafted that you missed out on. I would have loved, I mentioned Kansas, to see Kobe Bryant get a chance here. I would have loved to see Mello Dotson get a chance here. But you didn't get those guys. You got Jared Casey. So there's a few I liked. I thought they missed on a few others that they could have had that were right in their backyard. I'll go with a B. How would you grade the Chiefs' undrafted free agents? Weigh in the comments section. Let us know. Type A, B, C, D, or F. Weigh in on our pinned comment today and tell me what you think. The Chiefs Report is bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you won't find anywhere else, as there is no offseason here on the channel. We're going to continue to bring you our daily news and rumors. We have our live shows each and every week on Tuesdays. We have breaking news, Q&A mailbags. This is your one-stop shop for all things Kansas City Chiefs. If you love the Chiefs, this is the channel for you. We're closing in on 71,500 subscribers. I want you to be our very next subscriber here on the channel. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications. Doesn't cost you a thing. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. To subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. All right, let's talk about some of the names that I like from this group. Let's start with Clemson tight end Jake Brenningstool out of Brentwood, Tennessee. That's right outside of Nashville, one of the nice, classy suburbs there. He checks in at 6'5", 5'8", 241 pounds. He is a personal favorite of my guy Jake Chipper, who also went to Clemson as well. He said that the Chiefs got the best UDFA of anybody out there. I'm calling cap, but I still like the enthusiasm anyway. His stats last year, 49 total catches, 530 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a 41-yard long. There was a belief among many, including our own Tom Downey, that based on his draft rankings, he was going to get drafted. That did not end up happening. So there is some value here getting him as a UDFA, as he was the number 11 tight end in this year's class, number 198 player overall. And his scouting report goes as follows. Tough player with a knack for finding soft spots in zone coverage. Will fight as a blocker, but his thin frame and tall pad level show up too much. Room to improve in contested catch spots there. And if you look beyond Kelsey and Gray and Jared Wiley, it's pretty wide open here. Brenningstool might have a chance to actually make this roster, potentially speaking, as the number 4 tight end. Another name for you is Esapol, the offensive tackle from Washington State. And I was surprised he didn't get picked as well. He took a lot of top 30 visits across the NFL. He's a big dude, checks in at 6'5", 1/4", 323 pounds, out of Hayward, California, 23 years of age, a senior, played in 13 games last year for the Cougars. Solid overall PFF grade of 69.7, nice, and did not allow a single sack. More on him, his scouting report, we had him as the number 307th player overall with a ranking of 22nd among all offensive tackles. He's a bit raw, development player who fared much better as a zone blocker. He's got a basketball background, and that kind of shows up in his movement skills. His technique has improved, but certainly could use some work. That's part of the reason why he was a UDFA and ranked 307 in our overall rankings. I got one more player that I want to talk about here in just a moment, but first, let's ask you, who is your favorite Chiefs UDFA signing? If you had to name one player, who would it be and why? Weigh in the comments section. Tell me who that one player is. The last guy that we will discuss today is Elijah Badger, the wide receiver out of Florida. 23 years old, a redshirt senior, hometown of Sacramento, California, the capital city of that state. He checks in at 6'1", 3/8", 200 pounds. Decent production last year with 39 total catches, 806 yards. Also had 4 touchdown scores and a 77-yard long. Tom Dowdy had him as the 26th best receiver in this year's draft class and had an overall ranking of 225th. More on him and his scouting report. Mostly an outside receiver, but does have some slot experience, so some good balance there. Has solid speed and ability after the catch. He can be inconsistent at times with his route running and separation there. So there you have it. That's more on Elijah Badger, and that is a full look at the UDFA class. Best of luck to them. We will see who ends up on the 53-man roster potentially or on the practice squad. We'll continue to follow it right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. If you enjoyed today's show, you want to give a warm welcome to all the UDFAs and the rookies of this year's class, hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on the Chiefs Report. All right. We are halfway home. Up next, our updated depth chart. And then after that, we'll get to a mailbag. Go ahead and keep submitting questions to us. Use hashtag Chiefs for Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Who was your favorite UDFA signing? If you had to give me one player, who would it be? Tony says the tight end from Texas A&M. That would be Trey Watson. Tony, what do you like about Trey Watson? What is it you like about Trey Watson? Let me know. Who was your favorite UDFA that the Chiefs signed? Slavin Sam says Essapol has potential. He also says got to be bringing stool for me. Okay, some very good answers there. Very good. Up next, we'll get to the depth chart. But first, Super Chat menu on screen. If you guys would like to get involved and party and contribute to today's show. First time Super Chatters get the KC chant. $5, do a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, get bean boozled. $50, we will do a beer bong. $sign below the chat box if you'd like to contribute. And Super Chats will get priority here in the mailbag segment we're bringing you coming up in just a moment. Up next, let's get to our updated depth chart. We will run through position by position. I'll give you my thoughts of every single group from offense, defense, and special teams. We'll have that coming up in just a moment as we continue here on this live edition of the Chiefs Report. Appreciate you all being here. Let's go ahead and get started with our third segment, third quarter here at the Chiefs Report. Depth chart coming your way starting right now. Welcome in to this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. I am Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We are going to take an updated look at the Chiefs depth chart. This is our first glance at how things look for the Kansas City Chiefs after the NFL draft, as well as with the UDFAs that have signed. We will tell you what stands out to me and go over some of the position battles to watch here on today's program. Folks, with the draft out of the way, the next thing coming is real football, folks. It'll be here before we know it. If you're excited for Chiefs football to return in 2025, spam C in the comment section. I want to see as many C's as we can over this next minute. If we get 300 C's in the chat, I'll shout out whoever spams it the most in the comment section. Spam C, and we'll get going here on today's show. So I'll be honest. This depth chart might surprise you. And here's what I mean by this, folks. This was a very good rookie class. But not everybody is guaranteed to be a starter right away. All right? We'll explain a little further. There is some work to be done here. Let's begin with the quarterback position for the Kansas City Chiefs. And all of this, by the way, is at the time of this recording as of Tuesday. So by the time you may be watching this, there could be some changes. But at the moment, Kansas City with 4 quarterbacks on the roster: Patrick Mahomes, Gardner Minshew, Bailey Zappi, and Chris O as your QB4 as of right now. And we know that Patrick obviously is QB1. That's not changing. But the battle for QB2, I don't think is much of a battle. I would be surprised if Bailey Zappi overtook Gardner Minshew to be the QB2. Andy Reid has talked about Gardner Minshew in recent weeks in his pre-draft press conference. He spent some time specifically on Gardner Minshew and is really high on Gardner Minshew. He talked about his relationship already with Patrick Mahomes, that the two of them are on the same page there. So Gardner Minshew, I'm excited about too. I think that he's more than capable of getting the job done as a backup quarterback. Hopefully we never have to hear or see from him. But if, God forbid, something happens to Patrick Mahomes, Gardner Minshew can get the job done and be a good placeholder if that day were to come along. The running back room for Kansas City has gone through a little bit of change. Isaiah Pacheco is still your RB1 with Kareem Hunt behind him. Kareem Hunt with a new contract. Elijah Mitchell comes in from the San Francisco 49ers. Carson Steele is also there. The man of steel had a bit of an up-and-down rookie campaign last year. And then you got Smith, Rashard Smith, who the Chiefs drafted from SMU, and then Ingram is still around as well. And as I have scouted Smith a little further and gotten more details of what he brings to the table, he's not the biggest guy. He's got some speed on him, and he's got some special team skills as a returner. Call me crazy, but he kind of reminds me of Darren Sproles. And I know that it feels like every team in the league is trying to find the next Darren Sproles. The Kansas City Chiefs very well may have found that in Rashard Smith potentially. And I don't know if he's ever going to be a starting running back for this Chiefs team, but he is a nice back that offers something completely different than what we see from Pacheco and Hunt. I think he's going to play a significant role in this Chiefs offense. We'll go over the rest of the depth chart in a moment, but first, we need you guys to grade the Chiefs depth chart. What do you think of what the Chiefs have to offer in 2025? Get your grades in, A, B, C, D, or F. Way in the comments section and let us know. For the best Chiefs coverage around, you got to be subscribed to the Kansas City Chiefs Report as we continue to bring you our daily news and rumors. We're live each and every Tuesday. We are bringing you breaking news, Q-Day mailbag, sometimes multiple videos a day. If you love the Kansas City Chiefs, this is the channel for you. We're getting close to 72,000 subscribers, but we need your help to get there. I want to get at least 20 subs off today's video. Subscribe now for free. Stay up to date with everything going on with your Kansas City Chiefs. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV to subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. The receiver room for Kansas City is headlined by Xavier Worthy, who was the Chiefs team rookie of the year last year, and he was much better in the second half of the season, taking the role as the wide receiver one. Rashee Rice is expected to be fully healthy in time for training camp. He was on fire prior to the injury that he suffered, looking like a top 10 receiver. Hollywood Brown, they got back at the end of the season. Juju returns. Royals was drafted out of Utah State. I think this group is loaded. And we always look at these situations where you say to yourself, okay, can you get a little bit better? Do you need to add one more maybe? And we saw the Chiefs kind of toeing with this last year when they added Juju before the season began, when they traded for DeAndre Hopkins at the trade deadline. With the uncertainty of what is potentially to come with a suspension possibly for Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, and then the injury concerns that we've seen in the past with Rashee Rice as well as Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood Brown, you have built a safety net of sorts. Sky Moore is going to get the hell out of here. He's going to get ready to learn Chinese or something because Jalen Royals is here, and I think he's going to get playing time immediately in this Chiefs offense. And if for whatever reason, if an injury or suspension happens, Royals, I think, is going to have his name called upon right away and play a key piece of this Chiefs offense. They now have the depth to take care of things if something bad does end up happening. This is the best receiving core we've seen in Kansas City in quite some time. The tight end room for the Chiefs, Travis Kelce is back. Thank goodness. Noah Gray also returning off the best season of his career. And although the Chiefs did not draft a tight end, much to the chagrin of Mel Kiper Jr., they still have other options. Did we forget about Jared Wiley? Bringing Stool, who they drafted from Clemson, has some potential, or signed as UDFA rather. Anthony Fursker is still there. There's some other guys. Don't sleep on Jared Wiley. I feel like I need to warn y'all of that you can't be sleeping on Jared Wiley. People forget, just because he had this ACL injury and missed a lot of time, that he was highly thought of by the Chiefs when they selected him in the 4th round. And the comparisons that he was drawing coming out of the draft was to none other than Travis Kelce. So for me, I would even take this a step further. I like Noah Gray, but I think he is who he is at this point. I think he is a solid number 2 tight end, one of the best number 2 tight ends in the league, right up there with Isaiah Likely. But I don't think he is ever going to be good enough to take that next step, be that number 1 tight end. I think Wiley has a higher ceiling than what Noah Gray does to be that number 1 tight end. Watch out for him. Don't sleep on what he could potentially do. Now, this is going to ruffle some feathers when I look at the offensive line here. The starting 5, as of right now, is Jalen Moore at left tackle, Kingsley at left guard, Creed at center, Trey Smith at right guard, Juwan Taylor at right tackle. But Tyler, what about your first-round pick, Josh Simmons? About that, I'll explain here in a moment. You got Mike Caliendo, of course, back there. Wanya Morris, among others here. There's actually some depth to this. But here's the truth of the matter when it comes to Josh Simmons. If we know anything from Andy Reid, nothing around here is given. Everything is earned. And while I expect when the season begins that Josh Simmons will work his way into the starting lineup, either as a guard or a tackle, and I think that he and Jalen Moore will both be starters on this Chiefs offense, at this very moment, at this point in time, Josh Simmons has to earn his way into the starting lineup. He has to prove that he is fully healthy and that he can pick up the offense and that he's ready to go. It's a work in progress. I think he will, but at this very moment, he's not there yet. He's going to have to go out there and earn it. So that might surprise some people. That might irritate some folks. Believe me, I understand. But the job is far from finished. He's got a lot of work to do before he earns that starting role, which I do think he will. Should Josh Simmons start week 1 for the Kansas City Chiefs? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in the comments section below. Speaking of Josh Simmons, his jersey is on sale now at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. You can get yours now while supplies last. You may see the number 1 there, but don't worry. We will get you his jersey with his updated number once we have that number. And you can get yours at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Maybe you're not wanting a Josh Simmons jersey. Maybe you want somebody else. That's okay, too. That same link has all sorts of Chiefs jerseys that you can go check out for yourself. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. It's chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys to get yours today. Right in time for the summer. And if you're looking for a Simmons jersey, I think now's the perfect time because you get it at the very beginning of his career. Go check it out, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Let's go to the defense now. And this defensive line, there's some good dudes here, folks. Chris Jones is back. Mike Pennell is back. Mike Dana, George Karlaftis. Really good 4 there on your defensive front. Behind them, you got some depth. Charles Omenihu, who I thought was really good in the second half of the season when he came back from injury. He hit the free agent market. He was humbled a bit. Was hoping for more money. Settled for a 1-year, $7 million deal with Kansas City. We like to see King Felix step up. We've been waiting today, Junior, but it hasn't happened yet. I think this is a make-or-break year for him, the former first-round pick. Omarr Norman-Lott, I think, begins as a backup to Mike Pennell. He was never a full-time starter at Tennessee, so it's going to take some time for him to adapt. And Gillotte, who I personally am not so high on, he's got some work to do to get up there. Sack numbers were down significantly this past year. I would like to see him show more of that ability before he gets the chance to potentially earn his way into the rotation in the starting lineup. I'll say this, though. With names you recognize behind that solid starting 4, when we talk about Gillotte, Norman-Lott, King Felix, there's some real depth there. If something does happen, you got guys to fill in the gaps, to fill in the void. And we saw what the Philadelphia Eagles did to the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't have to remind you. But how did they do it? They did it with their defensive line. I think with all those names we mentioned and all those pieces behind, there's no reason why the Kansas City Chiefs can't do the exact same thing the Philadelphia Eagles did on their opposing teams this year. They should be able to dominate up front with that D-line. The linebacker room for Kansas City, Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquill lead the way there. Leo Chenal also returns. Got some new names in there as well into the mix. I like Bassa. I think he's going to offer something different than what we've seen with Nick Bolton. I love Nick Bolton, don't get me wrong, but he's not great in coverage. Bass could potentially come in maybe for Nick Bolton in those third down situations, or maybe they could be on the field together. I think this is a sneaky good group. No one is going to give them the credit that they deserve. All right? The mainstream media, we already know, is out to get the Kansas City Chiefs. It's, one of the biggest scams out there that we've seen in recent memory. But they sure as hell are not going to give credit to this linebacker room. And I'm glad Nick Bolton's back. I think this is a great group. And some people think that Nick Bolton might even be the best player on this Chiefs defense. Who do you think is the best player in this Chiefs defense? Is it Nick Bolton? Is it Chris Jones? Is it another guy by the name of McDuffie that we're going to talk about here in just a moment? Weigh in. Let me know who you believe is the best player on the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Let's go to the corner room now. And last year the Chiefs had some issues when it came to the corner position. After Jalen Watson went down, all hell broke loose. Najee Johnson was not good. Some of these other guys, Joshua Williams, it was kind of disgusting, in all honesty, what we saw from this corner room last year. But they've invested. I love the draft pick of Noah Williams from Cal. He's a turnover machine. They signed Christian Fulton. And they got some guys on the outside now with Fulton and Williams that's going to allow Trent McDuffie to go back to his natural position of Trent McDuffie. But one question remains. What's going to happen with Jalen Watson? Is Jalen Watson going to return? Is he going to get traded? I've mentioned this many times before. Brett Veach has never re-signed a homegrown defensive back. We expect them to do that with Trent McDuffie. But what about Jalen Watson? Does he get traded before the season begins, or do they kind of let things ride out and let Noah Williams and others compete for the other outside corner spot? At this point in time, I don't have an answer for you. I don't know what they will do. But it will be something to monitor to see if Watson gets traded or not. Should the Chiefs trade Jalen Watson? He has been injury-prone, too. As much as I like him, now might be your best chance to get something out of him before you have to pay him. Should they trade Jalen Watson, type T for trade, K for keep, your chance to be the GM, and let us know. Let's wrap up the defense with the safeties unit. Jaden Hicks returns off of outstanding rookie campaign. The former fourth-round pick out of Washington State. Brian Cook is there. Bush, Mike Edwards, Jason Taylor the second as well. And you might call this a hot take, but you don't come here for cold takes. I'll say this. For as much as everybody was sad to see Justin Reed leave, Justin Reed had a good run here in Kansas City. I think right now Jaden Hicks is better than Justin Reed. I don't think you're going to see any fall off. In fact, I think you're going to see things improve with him there. I think I have very high hopes for Jaden Hicks that he's going to have a great year and slide into that safety role just fine there. We wrap up with the Chiefs special teams unit. And this special teams unit, I laugh every time I see this group on screen because it just automatically triggers a certain faction of people with Harrison Butker at kicker, Matt Ariza at punter, James Winchester, my guy, he's back at long snapper. Nico, your kick return and punt return specialist. I also think we will see Brashard Smith as kind of your number 2 kick returner as well, who they drafted from SMU we talked about earlier. And the thing I like more than anything about this special teams unit, Not everybody in the NFL can say this. This group will not let me down. I can count on them all the time. I got the most accurate kicker in the league in Harrison Butker. I got Matt Araiza with the strongest leg of any punter. James Winchester is a hell of a long snapper. He makes plays for a long snapper, believe it or not. And then Nico's a decent returner. I think Rashad's going to be solid as well. I like the special teams unit. They're not going to let me down. They're going to do their job. Do your job. Thanks for watching today's show. If you made it to the end of today's video, you already know what to do. Spam real one in the comments section. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. Final segment ahead. It is our Q&A rumors mailbag. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. How would you grade the depth chart? A, B, C, D, or F? Weigh in, let us know. What you think? Tex, what do you think of the Chiefs depth chart here? What kind of stands out to you? Or it feels like a complete football team. I feel like this roster is better than last year's squad.
Yeah, great question. I agree. Some points of note that I noticed when I was producing the segment. Oh, let me get back to that.
There he is.
There I am. Get your questions in, but let me also go back to the question.
Yes, Tex wants you guys to get your questions in the mailbag. How many more questions do you think we need? About
I
two
can
or three?
check. Let me check real quick, actually, and then we'll go back to our conversation.
We'll go to the mailbag in about 2 minutes. I need about 2 or 3 more questions before we get to the mailbag. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. But what do we think? What do we think, my
Yeah,
friends?
I'd say like 3 or 4 questions would be good.
3 or 4 questions, says Big Tex.
Yes, sir. But let me pull up that other thing about the depth chart.
About the depth chart. What stands out to you, Tex?
Yes, good question. I like that Charles Omenihu returned. I know, like you said, he had to swallow some pride a little bit, but great defensive piece as a rotational backup piece.
He's a big talker. He was like, oh, I'm worth more than this, whatever. I deserve more playing time. And then he ends up right back here for $7 million.
Yeah. It's called settling and getting humbled for sure. But that
I
was a
would
good piece.
guess this is probably Charles's last year in KC, and that's okay.
Yeah. He'll find another landing place maybe in free agency for a low contract, 1-year pro deal. But other things that stood out to me were like you said, Josh Simmons has to earn it. I agree with that. But I, like you, think by the season start or very late into training camp, he should be pretty close to cracking that rotation either as a left tackle starter or somewhere as a guard on the line with Jalen Moore as well, starting alongside him.
Yeah. Keep getting your questions in. We need about 3 or 4 more. I got another minute before the mailbag starts. I want to make sure James, Peter, Slam, and Sammy, you all need to get in that mailbag. Get in the mailbag. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. Tony's telling everybody, come on, hurry up. Hurry up, Junior. Get your questions in using hashtag Chiefs or Super Chatting. Once I get about 3 or 4 more questions, then we can begin and get to our final segment here on today's show. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, those questions will get priority in the mailbag segment we'll be getting you. Slam and Sam's is. Okay. Tony's got the right idea. He says, we don't got all day. Seriously. I got a haircut appointment in 90 minutes, folks. And I still have things to do before I get out of here. So we need to get this over with. That way your fearless leader can get a chop and be looking fresh. I got to be looking fresh when I head out to the West Coast this weekend. I got to bring my best. I got to look like I belong, like I'm not a visitor. Yeah, Slam and Sammy's will work. Okay, so we need about 2 or 3 more. 2 or 3 more questions. James, that's a good question, but you didn't use hashtag Chiefs, my guy. Hashtag Chiefs. That's what I need from you, Slam and Sam. Hashtag Chiefs, and then we can get you on the mailbag. Hashtag Chiefs, and then we'll get you on. There we go. Slam and Sam's got one. All right, now I need 2 more. Tony's asking, is he in or does he need to change his question? Okay, Tony, you are in. We can confirm. Ashton Gillotte. Okay. Okay. All right. So I need about one or two more, then we get started here. While we're waiting, Tex, I got to bring this up. I need your thoughts. Did you see Belichick's awkward interview with CBS the other day?
I saw like clips of it. I know like wasn't his like girlfriend or whatever like escort. I don't want to use
Escort.
I get
Allegedly.
alleged escort. Confirmed girlfriend publicly at least. Yeah, I saw she was.
She interrupted the interview.
And she was like sitting in the back room couch, and then like got up and was like getting on the camera and was like, no.
Oh yeah, she stormed off during the middle of the interview and delayed it 30 minutes. There was supposed to be two parts. They were going to do another interview. CBS has since canceled that.
It's like someone who's never had enough attention in their life gets starved for it, and then when they have the opportunity for attention, they blow it and they just make this weird scene as an adult. When it's like what's like a kid does, like a tantrum. You're a grown adult.
I'm starting to get nervous for Bill. This was cute at first, like, oh, a 70-year-old man dating a 24-year-old. Good for Bill. Yeah. And now she looks like a control freak.
Yeah.
She's at practice every day, on the field.
She's doing it like Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend at the time was like controlling his life, like restricting who he could talk to and stuff.
Yeah, Olivia Munn.
Yes, thank you.
Broke him up with his family and all that.
Bill, get out of there. Get out. She's got to have something on him, man. He's trapped. He's either whipped or he's blackmail trapped.
It's not looking good for Bill.
No.
I'm a little concerned.
Bill's cooked.
One more question. I need one more. We don't got all day, folks. I got to get this haircut. All right? I can't be late. I can't be late for this haircut. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. I need one more, and we will get you on the show. Like James had a good question earlier, but he didn't use hashtag Chiefs. How many times do I have to say this, my friends? Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. That's it. I need one more. One more. Slim and Sam says that girl was in diapers when Bill won his first ring. Here's the thing. When Bill won his first ring, she wasn't alive. Yeah, 24 years old. When Bill won his first ring with the Giants, oh, yeah. Watch out, Tex. You could be next. Tex says no to Bill Belichick.
No,
Sorry,
no.
Bill.
Stay away, Bill. Stay away, Bill.
Yeah, stay away from Tex. Oh, yeah. Tex is not interested in Bill Belichick. Can't confirm. Tex, hopefully someday we'll get a workout together. I think you'd make a good coach. Well, yeah, that used to be your job. Yeah.
I appreciate that, Tony.
I would hope that
Believe it or not, it was my job.
If you work out Tony, I would hope, no offense, Tony, you'd be a hard ass to Tony.
Oh,
I need you screaming in his face.
Screaming in his face? Like
yes.
Motivating him?
Well, I want you to be a little bit of an asshole, too.
Okay, Tony, yeah. We'll get the workout in, and I'll be like a drill instructor, according to Tyler's
Cuss at him a little bit.
Tell him that he needs to, like, get his shit together kind of thing. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get a workout in, Tony. It'll be tough, though. It'll be the hardest workout you ever do, Tony. But we'll get it in.
Make him cry a bit. Make him puke.
Okay. We'll do the suicides until everybody's puking everywhere. Can't hold your shit together. And then when you think
Tony says yes, he's in.
All right. I respect it, Tony. He didn't even say no hesitation. He just says yes. Yes. I like that, Tony. He says yes with no questions. No, but what? No, just yes.
Is it a bad thing, Tex, that I have never in my life worked out hard enough where it made me puke?
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I do think there is benefit to pushing your body physically, like to the point of like exhaustion and throwing up and like maximizing your nervous system output and stuff like that. But not all the time. It's like something you do periodically. You don't want to like go in every day with the aspiration to walk out like throwing up and like slithering out because you can't like use your legs or something like that.
Can I get one more question?
One more question, people. Use hashtag Chiefs.
Folks,
ask about the draft. Are you a free agent?
Even if you've already asked a question, I don't care. Send it another one. We got to wrap this up. We got to get this thing going. That way I can leave. This hair isn't going to cut itself, my friends. I need your help. Send me one more question. That way we can get this thing started. Tony says, come on, hurry up. We got places to be. We got things to do. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. I need one more. There we go, Slayman Sam. That'll work. That will work. All right. All right. Without further ado, final segment. Let's get this thing started. Like Melinda, good question, but you didn't use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. Melinda, come on. You know better. You know better, Melinda. All right. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Time for our mailbag segment. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. To get on the mailbag portion of today's show, let's go ahead and get started. You're watching the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chad Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. It is time to touch our bags and drop our socks on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. It is our first mailbag that we've done since the 2025 draft. You guys got a lot of questions when it comes to the draft. I've also taken a sneak peek at the mailbag and seen that you guys have some questions about some potential trades, about Trey Hendrickson and Jadeveon Clowney. This comes from the live show we do on Tuesdays. We answer the questions in real time. So let's go ahead and begin with a $2 super chat from Slayman Sam, who writes in, the crime boss, Jeffrey the Dime Bassa, is a fire pick. Is that what we're calling him? The crime boss and the dime? This is news to me. I like it. I like it. Yes, I think he's a fire pick. All Big Ten selection. Very good coverage linebacker that offers something different than Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton, as much as I love the guy, not great when it comes to coverage. So maybe, here's my thought process. Hear me out on this, Slyman Sam. Jeffrey Bassett is not going to be a starter for this team. He will be a backup. But here's the role I'm thinking for Jeffrey Bassett. Hear me out on this. I would personally like to see whether it's him and Bolton on the field together, or take Bolton out in third down situations and put Bassett in. That would be my area of focus if I'm Spags, is, hey, we need help when it comes to coverage linebackers at times. I'm going to have Bassett be kind of an exclusive coverage linebacker in his role. I think that would make a ton of sense, and you could get the most out of him and take advantage of the opposing offenses you face. I think that would work well for Kansas City. Folks, I need you to not only subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report, but also turn on notifications and join what we call the Noti Gang. The Noti Gang are the people that are the first to know when we have new content here on the channel. So let's just take an example here. We got breaking news. Well, when we have a new video with the news, you'll look down at your phone after you get past that thirst trap message from your girlfriend, and you'll see, oh, wait, Chiefs just signed this guy? I got to find out more. Click, and then you're watching me breaking it down. It's just like that, folks, and then you can get back to your thirst trap photo from your girl later. So go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications. Hit that Noti bell. That way you're the first to know when we have new content on the channel. Subscribe, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Turn on notifications. If you're part of the Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comments section, and we'll continue with today's show. Casey Kingdom writes in, could the Chiefs trade for Trey Hendrickson? So let me tell you this, Casey Kingdom. I like Trey Hendrickson. It's not looking great for his chances of getting a new deal with the Cincinnati Bengals. He wants more money than what the Bengals seem willing to pay. I thought the Bengals took a stupid approach of paying T. Higgins before they paid Trey Hendrickson. I thought Trey Hendrickson should have been a bigger priority. He's been one of the best in the league. We saw him basically eat Kingsley alive in the second game of the regular season this year. But even still, 17.5 sacks the last two seasons. With that said, all right, let's be real for a moment. The Kansas City Chiefs, typically speaking, we see around the NFL where teams avoid intra-division trades because they don't want the trade to bite them in the ass later. The Chiefs have been so good for such a long time now, I think some of these other contending teams, like the Bengals, the Ravens, the Bills, just to name a few, are probably not looking to help the Kansas City Chiefs. If Trey Hendrickson is not going to play for the Bengals, they probably don't want to send him to Kansas City. So as much as I would like Trey Hendrickson here, if he's not going to be a Bengal, I don't see him coming to Kansas City. Should the Chiefs find a way to trade for Trey Hendrickson, your chance to be the GM here, the Chiefs support. You got two options here. Type T for trade, P for pass. Wait in the comments section. Let us know what you think. Tony, you are in the mailbag. You are in the mailbag. Listen closely. I'm talking to you, Tony. Listen closely. Hashtag Chiefs. When it comes to edge, I think he's talking about Ashton Gillotte. I'm not so confident in the pick, but I trust the process. I hope he works out. Tony, bringing in some good analysis here. Here's what I would tell you, Tony. Of all the draft picks that were made, he was my least favorite. But much like you, I have learned over time that we have to trust Brett Veach. Brett Veach has as good of a track record as any GM in the National Football League. And it concerns me that Gillotte's numbers, when it came to sacks, went down significantly from 2 years ago to last season, although his pressure rate stayed the same. But, as John Gruden would say, I don't care about pressures. Give me sacks! That, to me, is a bit of a red flag with Gillotte there. But with that said, maybe Brett Veach sees something in him. He's got to work his way up the depth chart. He's like third string as of right now. So we'll give it a chance. But that's the pick I'm the least confident in, Tony. Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. Could Jody Fortson get just one more chance in the kingdom? How about no? I don't really have a purpose. I don't really have a use for Jody Fortson at this point in time. Why? Mike, maybe you're related to Jody or something. I don't know. No disrespect to Jody. But I don't see a need. I don't see a place for Jody Fortson anymore. The Chiefs are too good for Jody Fortson. It kind of reminds me of Patrick's old buddy, Garrick Dieter. Do y'all remember Garrick Dieter? Garrick Dieter got to hang around the roster for probably 2 years too long just because he became best friends with Patrick Mahomes. And if you think I'm joking, I'm not. I'm dead serious. That literally was the only reason why he was on the roster for 2 years, because he was Patrick's best friend. It was the best decision he's made in his entire life, was befriending Patrick. And that stretched out his career. Eventually, the Chiefs said, yeah, we don't care if you're Patrick's best friend. We can do better than you. Get out of here. Jody, nah. Chiefs Rule writes in, would you like to see the Chiefs trade for Jadeveon Clowney? Now, there's an idea. Trey Hendrickson costs a lot of money, and he plays for the Bengals. Jadeveon Clowney, on the other hand, does not cost a lot of money, and he plays for the Panthers, who suck ass. Okay? Clowney actually had a decent season last year in Carolina. Heads, Carolina. Tails, California. 5.5 sacks last season on just an awful football team. 9.5 the year prior in Baltimore. He's still not terribly old. His contract, I think, is around $7 million. You'd only have to give up a 7th-round pick. Why not? Why not Jadeveon Clowney? I think that would be a win-win. You can never have too many pass rushers. Add him to the mix. I like the idea. I like the idea of Clowney. I think he'd fit in nicely to this Kansas City Chiefs team. Should the Chiefs trade for Jadeveon Clowney? Your chance to pretend to be Brett Veach. Get to play pretend. Should the Chiefs trade for Clowney? Y for yes, in for no. I'm typing Y for yes. If that opportunity presents itself. Weigh in, let us know in the comments. Slemon Sammy Joe writes in, should we re-sign any of our running backs for next year? Okay, so I think in particular you're talking about Pacheco and Hunt. And what I would say is let's let the year play itself out and see. Does Pacheco get back to full strength and look like his old self? What does Kareem Hunt have left to potentially offer there? If both of them look good and it's reasonable, then yeah, potentially. I think you take a year-by-year approach. There is no reason on God's green earth to give long-term contracts to either one of them. And I know Pacheco is much younger than Kareem Hunt. But at this point, with already showing some mileage, with already dealing with those injuries, I would take it year by year and see where things go. But let's see how the year plays out. And I'm not talking about, okay, we get to November, like, wow, Pacheco's rushed for 1,000 yards. Let's get him a new deal. No. Let's see him get through the season healthy, how he does in the playoffs, and then we can have that discussion. So let's wait and see. Paul writes in, probably want a cracker? Do you want Mahomes? I think he means, do you think Mahomes will have his best season in 2025? Well, he's had some terrific seasons. It's a two-time MVP for a reason. I mean, that first season he won MVP, didn't he throw close to 50 touchdowns? Over 50, says Big Tex. Big Tex knows ball. That's hard to top. 50-plus touchdowns again. Is it possible? Sure. But is it likely? Probably not, just because how historic that year was. And he had Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill in their prime. So, do I think Mahomes would be great? Of course I do. Do I think he's the best quarterback in football? Hell yes, I do. But other than losing the AFC Championship, that offense had everything go right for them in that first year that he was the MVP. So will he have his best season? Probably not, but he'll probably still have a great season. Last question. Rated Dog writes in, do you see the Chiefs keeping all four running backs? For this year, I think that they probably say bye to Carson Steele. I think Carson Steele's gone. I think you go with Pacheco, Hunt, and then you also go with Brashard Smith, and then you go with Elijah Mitchell. I think those would be your four running backs. Carson probably hangs around the practice squad. I would guess if there's an injury, he gets his name called, but he has no one really to blame but himself. He literally fumbled, pun intended, his opportunity with this fumbling problem he had last year. If he didn't have those issues, he may have been the starter the rest of the season. Sucks to suck sometimes. But that's the truth of the matter. I think that's where things stand. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications. Never miss a motor. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. We are going to get out of here. Tony says he had fun today. Tyler, going to go do some cardio. All right, Tony, be safe out there. Appreciate you joining us for Big Tex. I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great night, everybody. So long.